most creative agencies fail in the first 2 years and they are not able to get success or figure out how to get success as a creative agency selling out services. So, in this video, my goal is to share with you the complete mind map to give you the absolute clarity of how I scaled my creative agency and the exact process, the audience that you need to target, the untapped niches that are working really well. This is not something like a get rich quick video. This is a very hands on practical video which is rare to find on the internet, because in this whole video I'll be going through this three particular key questions. So this is basically the complete presentation, how to build a really successful creative agency. I've been running my own agency for the last 6 years. This is the only thing that I've done in my life, which is building, running, scaling agencies and teaching people how to build, run and scale their successful agencies. And I love to share free value. So in case you want to check out our free course, that's actually down below in the description. And we have generated over $10 million for us and our clients in the agency tracked revenue. And we have been doing a $80,000 plus MRR on just agency as well. And just for the proof, here's a client that paid us $2,000 just before recording this video 2 hours ago. So we prove it with our own result, and we have built a community of 45,000 plus people across social media and on our email list that are actively seeking growing inside our communities. Now, if you're a creative agency owner, how would you position yourself? I want you to do a very quick test. Imagine you are running an agency like ours, which is shortbits.co, where we provide editing services. Now, take a deep breath and just imagine who is something that you could sell out your video editing services to. I'll give you 5 seconds and think about it. Who can you really sell your video editing services to? Who can really convert for your video editing services to? And while you're thinking, is your answer any of this five? Which is, have you thought about that you should sell your services to coaching and consultant, e-commerce, founders, influencers, realtors, local businesses, and agency owners? If your answer was any of the last five, again, you're not wrong, and I cannot predict your mind, but these are the niches that usually GPT gonna recommend you first, and these are the niches that people usually go after when they start their creative businesses, their creative agencies, video editing agencies, or marketing agencies, or any sort of agencies. And remember, none of this works because, first of all, we as a human try to go for the easiest solutions, easiest target first. And when everyone is going and pitching out to the same e-commerce, coaching, realtors, local business and agency owners, it's really hard that you would close, because everyone is coming with the same pitch, same offer, same deliverable, and then you say, hey, it's way too competitive. But in this video, while you are with me, I'll be giving you the untapped niches that you could target for your creative things. Remember, when you work with these niches where there's already an abundance of reach outs done by editors, people who have just got an idea about CapCut, or in the design field, they just got to know how to use Canva, they go out and target these people. You're falling and you're competing with the people who are already getting tons of messaging, because if you thought any of this is your audience or something else, the others are thinking the same. So it's not competitive, but it's competitive for 10% of the audience that 90% of the people who have just got started with their journey are trying to target. And it's easier to reach out to them because it's the first thought that comes in the mind. You can easily find realtors in a particular area. You could easily find people who do credit repair in a particular area. You could easily find local businesses in a particular area by doing a quick Google search. So everyone is going after those audience. But you have to be thinking that, okay, what are the untapped niches that I could target? Here are some untapped niches that I've pulled out for you. You could go after vertical SaaS companies. What do I mean by vertical SaaS companies? Vertical SaaS companies are not the SaaS companies that go for sexy niches. Example, ClickUp, HubSpot, or something that you constantly hear about, because these companies have their own media and creative teams. They have their own design teams. But there are companies that work in verticals like manufacturing. There are companies that give solutions very specific in, let's say, schooling providers. There are companies that work very good and they have a hyper experience in working with a lot of dentists. Okay, these are called as vertical SaaS companies. They are also like ERP companies, CRM providers. It is a type of companies that usually the 80% of the editing crowd who has just started working on the things, they don't go after. The next is what I call as legacy businesses. Legacy businesses are not the sexy businesses. It's not like a creator who wants to have the most flashiest cast on his reels, who needs to use the most trending audios on his content. But these are the people, they don't care about a lot of hooks, but what they really care about is they having a person who's responsible enough to create content for them, to create creative things for them, and he's reliable, dependable, and the most important thing, he follows the brand guidelines. This is one of the most priority aspect. You could go after legacy businesses like manufacturing companies, healthcare businesses. These are the people who really make money. They don't know how to do like those flashy cuts, but what they really understand is that they need to go online and they need creative talents. And the next niche that has really worked for some of our own clients and something that we would be like to going after is VCs, private equity firms, and people who are broadly involved in investment niche. Banking and investment requires a lot of trust. All the people who are involved in insurance, loan agents have been one of our top clients in the past. So people who are doing something because of finance is hard to understand. Because it's hard to understand, creative things like video editing, writing, copywriting, design can actually help people to understand the complex concepts a lot. So when it can happen, and that's where they actually need your talent, your expertise. And these are the type of clients who really care about the brand more rather than those flashy reels and getting those virality out. The next type of thing is professional services firm. So anything like a lawyer, anything like a person who's like doing accounting services, or anyone who's doing, let's say, credit repair, or any type of professional services. These are the people who actually come into a niche. Example, Medicare companies. These are the companies that do not want to have extreme high volume of content. They want to have low educative content because there are guidelines in place which restrict them to advertise themselves like directly to the service. But they can educate their audience, pull out the pointers, and then sell to them. Next is event companies and different associations. There are a lot of associations where you could sell your services. They require a lot of event based content because they usually meet up on a regular basis. And if you're thinking, Dave, this is great, but what is the creative state of the business overall? Or what is the state of creative agencies altogether? So here is something that me and Akash were discussing, and this is what the exact state of business is. Businesses wants to have a lot of talent. They're looking to hire a lot of creative people. If somebody is saying AI is replacing editing, AI is replacing creative talent, no, it's replacing the bottom end of the funnel. People who used to use CapCuts, or just know that in editing trimming and splitting is involved, or people who used to write very average copies and used to think they are copywriters, or people who used to design very simple graphics on Canva. Yes, AI is coming after them and it's replacing. While AI is not able to replace creative storytelling, creative way of presenting the product. It cannot come with a very creative, unique launch ideas that we have been doing for our clients. So what I'm about to say is, yes, AI is impacting a lot of jobs, but good clients are also in look for great creative talents out. So you have to hone your skill and make your skills much better so you could be more presentable to clients. Demand is actually more than the supply. There's not enough people who are really good, really creative. And because we can say that, because we are having a hard time finding really good creative talent. Yes, there's a enough amount of editors, there's enough amount of writers, there's enough amount of designers, but people who truly understand the things, people who really implement the things, and people who have the idea to think why this thing gonna work, why this wouldn't gonna work, is really less. Okay, because we are talking about creative agencies, here are some creative agencies that have come across and that you could build your creative agency in. One is unlimited video graphic or design creative agency, which is, if you go for unlimited video agency, you could have examples like Be Creatives, Shortwits. If you go for like graphic agencies, you could go for Penji or Designer. There are so many agencies like that. Or similarly, you could also be a launch specialist, writing planning agency. There are a lot of products that gets launched. How about you develop an expertise to help people write complete branding elements, or write a complete creative copy for a launch, for a specific software launch, or something like you help a company do all the things that's required. You do for a company all the creative expertise that's required to have a successful Twitter launch, a successful product hunt launch, a successful AppSumo launch, where you give all your creative talents to do that. And third is performance based growth creative agencies. These are people who say something like, hey, I'll help you to get 100K followers in 6 months, or I help you to build a successful personal brand in 90 days and have your first brand deal, something which has performance attached with a creative. Or hell, I'll help you write copies, and or I help you write copies that generate minimum $10,000 from your email marketing efforts. Or I'll write SMS copies, creatives, and system around SMS I'll help you build a system around SMS to get you another $10,000 in closing. So something like a performance based creative agencies. Next is story based creative agencies. There are a lot of brands that are not able to figure out their own story, who they ask for, who they serve for, what is their mission, a video that tells to their company what they have been working on, or giving the absolute clarity in their target audience, in their ICPs, or make like a video that is truly explaining their product, all those things. So that is where story based creative agencies comes across. I have really come across this agency called as Sandwich. Okay, if you could check it out, Sandwich creative agency, they do really good job at promoting SaaS products. And there's another agency that you could have a look over is Water Story. They absolutely nail the game of creating SaaS explainer videos. So you have to understand that there are different type of agencies that have very specific results. Next is ads and content agencies, because there's a lot of need for ads these days, and agencies who could create ads using, let's say, multiple AI tools, who could create multiple AI variations, can build and assemble editors to create a lot of creators. Because if you know about anything about Facebook is now getting ads heavy. There's a reel that I just came across where Alex Hormozy says that he's testing out 400 reels on a per week basis. So imagine the amount of creating testing involved. So if you want to build out another creative agency, it could also be in a performance space where you do like ads and content engine like UGCs, video content for their websites, for their AI creatives that you create, or AI images that you create for their website, so much more. Next is Pew. Next is an agency that you could build in long form space, specifically podcast and YouTube agencies, where you help people to find next podcast guest, where you do specific sort of video editing like reaction channels, or something around YouTube like cash cow videos and SaaS explanation videos, something around the category where you target podcast and long form content. Just building out a video editing agency or a writing agency or a creative agency won't gonna work. You have to build your own expertise with time. Next, once you have created your positioning, this is a 4-step framework of how could you get your first clients. Step number 1, you could define your unique offer. You should just focus on one niche when you are getting started. I've give you a lot of niches that you could go, and a lot of creative agencies that you could go. And then comes your pricing. There's also one more hack that I want to recommend you. If you're planning to start your own creative agencies, or you want to get into the creative space, I'll recommend you first work in an agency or a company that has already having an experience of doing creative projects at scale. Well, in this case, you could also send us and reach out to us. Shortbids, we are always hiring. We have a form on our site. But if you work somewhere under an agency that has already figured out a lot of components, like how do you do the delivery, how do you find editors, how do you grow with hiring more people, and how do you get clients, if you have, you can see that on a micro scale in an agency, it would reduce your years of experience in being able to trying to figure out. The next thing is define your pricing. There are multiple models that creative people charge, specifically like a per video pricing, per um, per words based pricing, like how many words that you are doing in a writing project, or something like how many views can you generate, or something like performance, like how much revenue that your creatives makes. It's up to you to figure it out. We'll be making a dedicated video on pricings coming up as well. Next is define your client inbound system. There are two ways of how you could get your clients. One is an inbound way, and two is your outbound way. Inbound means client comes to you, outbound means you reach out to the client. So first is, you could define, like, I would not say like pick all the methods. There are multiple people who are successful in 1 2 3 4 5 different methods, and there are people who have just perfected their processes with just one process. I will give you what I've seen happening in the market, and you could decide. I've seen people who build Instagram personal pages where they talk a lot about their journey, they do some challenges, and they do a lot of stuff to get clients. This is the content that they create in order to get end clients, where they talk about how to create a hook, how to create a story, how to create how you got an X result for your client or Y result for your client. That's one of the ways to get your client. If you already have some following, let's say about 10 to 15,000 people, this is one of the first method that I would tap in order to get clients. There was other day that I told my team member that I posted a Facebook image about my agency where I just talked about how we are doing SEO, where we get close to 2 million plus impressions in a month. And I got 5 people reaching out to me ready to pay my price to get SEO services. While we don't offer SEO services at all. So the world needs to know what you are offering, what results you are getting, and if you could get that same result that you're promoting to client in your business, there would never be a supply, there would always be opportunities knocking at your door. Next is YouTube creative brand, where you talk people like how could they edit creatives, how could they plan creatives, a long form content just like this, where you talk and guide everything for your ideal target audience, like a video which says how to create media content for healthcare companies, or how can VCs can create more content that gets them more meeting booked with LPs. So very specific search queries that people in a specific category gonna watch for. Next is referral and community led. We just closed a deal of $1,500 from a client that just came from referral. So we have a very dedicated referral program in all of our agencies. We pay 10% flat recurring commissions throughout the point we have our things. And you might have seen some people who get very well known in a specific community for doing why specific stuff. I know people like Rohan who have built absolute credibility at launching products on Product Hunt. He's working on one of a recent launch with Google I just saw. So you could focus on one community, one network where you build an absolute expertise and you get all your work from there. Next is you could use Facebook group, school communities, and Discord communities. Discord communities are very good channel where you could find a lot of work specifically for creative professionals out there. School is where growing internet marketing businesses, people who are just trying to launch their first funnel, first system, generate their first revenue online are there. And Facebook groups, the best method. I got my life's first client at the age of 16 from a Facebook group only. So there's a lot of things. And I got my first international client also from a Facebook group in the year 2019. So Facebook groups are super powerful because like-minded people are there in a specific community. And when you present your workout, you don't have to spam there. You just have to educate, answer, and guide people. And you would see a flow of people coming to you in order to work with you. Next is search engine optimization. I'll just ask my editor to put like our search engine result. We do crazy amount of inquiries. We have the world some of the best clients. Like we got a call booked of a brand which does $50 million per month just by doing SEO. So these are the companies that are searching like how to hire editors, where to hire editors, and we rank one of the first on those queries. Or what is the unlimited video editing subscription, which companies can offer video editing subscription. But this is not a method that's recommended for everyone, because we have spent close to 1 year of time in building out our current SEO stack, and you cannot even count how much thousands of dollars we have spent to build a team and do all the links outbound and create content so that we are in a position. Yes, it's a long term game. Now with time we are building and betting on long term things. So SEO is one of the engines. Now if you cannot do any of the things outbound, here are some things. First is launch a Facebook ads. There's a very detailed video coming on Facebook ads on this channel only, where I'll show you and I'll walk you through how do we launch Facebook ads that actually gets the lead. Any big successful agency that you know, any person that you know who's massively scaling their agency, they are running Facebook ads. That's the period. That's the last point, because they run Facebook ads. Either they run Facebook ads or they have just mastered one inbound system that we have in the list. Okay. Next is LinkedIn automation system. You could use a system of tools like Closely and LinkedIn Sales Navigator to find the target audience. Specifically, if you're selling in manufacturing, B2B, vertical SaaS categories that I've defined today, LinkedIn works like wonder. You could target creative directors to sell your services. Next is Twitter X system. A lot of good SaaS companies and the founders are super active on Twitter. Twitter is said to like having the people with the highest brains out there. You'll see a lot of AI stuff, you'll see a lot of creative stuff. The quality of audience on that platform is absolutely next level. So if you're selling in SaaS category, or people where you have, or people, if you're selling in finance SaaS category, then Twitter is the place for you to do outbounds in order to reach out to those people. Next is having cold emails and IG outbound systems. We have been sending out close to 1200 to 1500 cold emails on a every single day basis in order to find prospects. Yes, you cannot blatantly send out cold emails. We research, we build ICPs, we build personas, and then we do the research. The final thing is defining the ICP. Here are few people that you could absolutely go and pitch your services. Companies where the marketing team is growing by more than 10%, which means, and if you go on LinkedIn, you could easily find, going on the filters in Sales Navigator, you could easily find this. Or Find companies that are launching more ads. Okay, they are going more big on ads, they are launching more ads, or they have raised a funding recently. And third is, go for companies who are hiring for the roles or the talent that you are providing. Example, you're a writer, look for companies that are hiring writers. If you are a content manager or a content specialist on helping people to get crazy on content, find companies that are hiring for content writers. And this, because these companies are already hiring for the place, that simply tells that there's a demand for this. If you want to download the exact mind map which was just shared in this video, there's a form down below. Fill your information, you'll get this complete mind map delivered to you for absolutely free. My goal here is to answer each and every question that you guys have in your journey to get clients. Please go forward, and in the comment section, just give a like and just put any comments that you have or any questions that you have.